It is great to be together. I just wanted to... We're going to be using our Share Shabbat prayer card. We have it in either like a cream or songs, and hopefully our guest, Kyle Gibbs.
Of Maya Hayom, which is number 17. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom. We'll continue with the words of Hine Matov, which is... Shevet achim gam yachad, hine ma tov u'ma na'im. Shevet achim gam yachad, hine ma tov u'ma na'im. Shevet achim gam yachad, hine ma tov u'ma na'im. Shevet achim gam yachad, hine ma tov u'ma na'im. Shevet achim gam yachad, hine ma tov u'ma na'im. Shevet achim gam yachad. Shomre, Shomre, Shabbat, Lekore Oneg Shabbat. Shomre, Shomre, Shabbat, Lekore Oneg Shabbat. Bam, bam. Yismechu, Yismechu, B'malechutecha. Yismechu, Yismechu, B'malechutecha. Shomre, Shomre, Shabbat, Lekore Oneg Shabbat. Shomre, Shomre, Shabbat, Lekore Oneg Shabbat. Bam, bam, ba-dam, ba-dam, bam, bam, bam. Ba-dam, ba-dam, bam, bam, bam. Ba-dam, ba-dam, bam, bam, bam. Ba-dam, ba-dam, bam, bam, bam.
I always like that version of Yismechu, because the word Yismechu, does anyone know what Yismechu means? Has a very familiar root. Sameach, happy, joyful. So when we're supposed to sing Yismechu, we're supposed to rejoice in Shabbat, and that sounds like a very rejoicing type of melody, so it's always been my favorite. We'll continue on our service prayer sheet at the top with our opening meditation. We live in a very busy world, but we put aside one day every week for rest. That day is Shabbat. Shabbat is the time that we come together to be with ourselves, our day. Let me find peace on this day. Let me enter into a quiet world this day. God, we thank you for our eyes as we begin with the Baruch Hu.
Ya la ya la la ya la 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 ya la la ya la ya la 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 ya la 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 Adonai Hamevorach Hamevorach Baruch Adonai Hamevorach Leolam Leolam Vaed. Praise be the one to whom our praise is due. Praise be the one to whom our praise is due. Praise be the one to whom our praise is due. Now and forever. Ya la 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 ya la ya la la ya la 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 ya la la ya la ya la la ya la
continue with the words of Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
You may be seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Adonai Elohechem Emet. We continue with the words to Miriam's song in the middle of the first page.
And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long. And Miriam was a weaver of unique variety. The tapestry she wove was one which sang our history. With every strand and every thread she crafted her delight. A woman touched with spirit, she dances towards the light. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long. When Miriam stood upon the shores and gazed across the sea, the wonder of this miracle she soon came to believe. Whoever thought the sea would part with an outstretched hand, and we would walk to freedom and march to the promised land. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long. And Miriam the prophet took her timbrel in her hand, and all the women followed her just as she had planned. And Miriam raised her voice in song, she sang with praise and might. We've just lived through a miracle, we're going to dance tonight. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long. Ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la 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 la. La la, ya la 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 כמוך, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תחילות עושה פלא, נורא תחילות עושה פלא. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים, אמרו זה אלינו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. יא לה לה יא לה 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 יא לה לה יא לה 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 יא לה לה יא לה 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 יא לה 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 יא לה 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 לה.
As we look towards the bottom of the prayer card, I invite you to rise in body or spirit for our tefillah.
Adonai tzifatav tiftach ufi yagi techilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Chanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'konei Hakol, Ve'zocher Chazdei Avot V'imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Le'ma'an Shemo Be'achava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah.
God, each of us hears you differently, yet you are the one God for us all. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob each heard you in a different way. To Abraham you gave courage. To Isaac you brought comfort. Jacob learned that you, Rachel, and Leah each heard you in a different way. To Sarah you brought laughter. To Rebekah you gave strength. To Rachel you taught kindness. And to Leah you brought love. May each of us hear you in our own special way, and may we always feel your protection. We praise you, eternal God. You are the shield of Abraham, the help of Sarah, the one God of all Jews and all the world. You may be seated as we take a moment for private meditation.
Adonai, Elyon libi lefanecha Adonai tzuri Adonai tzuri Vegoali
As we prepare for our Torah service and share Shabbat tradition, if there are any... Yeah, you. And Charlie, if you're feeling brave, you can come up too. I invite you to turn over your prayer cards and rise. Some of the liturgy we will sing is on your card, some is not. We're keeping you on your toes.
Ki mitzion tetzeh Torah, Ki mitzion tetzeh Torah, Udevar Adonai Mirushalayim, Baruch Shenatan Torah, Baruch Shenatan Torah, Le'amo Yisrael B'Kedushato
Shemanu Adonai Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shemo
Kadlu Adonai Tihi and Romama Shemo Yachdav
Adonai Eloheinu v'chishtachavu lecha kodsho romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'chishtachavu lecha kodsho ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu Ki Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'chishtachavu lecha kodsho Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'chishtachavu lecha kodsho Ki Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu Ki Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'chishtachavu lecha kodsho romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'chishtachavu lecha kodsho ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu.
Our Torah portion this week is Parshat Tetzaveh. For those of you who are interested in following along for the reading, if you grabbed one of the larger of the two, and 63 is where I'll be reading from. This is all about the need for us to build a sanctuary that God shall dwell among us, and the space that was created this week, in addition to the priests who are going to be doing worship services, as far as at that time services were, of course, making sacrifices. So what was it that they were going to be wearing? You can follow along again on page 562. And I invite you to recite the blessings with me, which can be found on the back of your prayer card. Baruch hu et Adonai hamvorach, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai, noten ha'torah. Ve'ata titzaveh et bnei Yisrael, v'yikchu elecha shemen zayit zach, katit l'ma'or, l'ha'alot ner tamid, ba'ohel moed michutz laparochet, asher al ha'edut. Ya'aroch oto aharonai, chukat olam l'dorotam, me'et bnei Yisrael. Ve'ata hikrev elecha et aharon achicha, ve'et benavito, mitoch likvod ultifaret. Ve'ata tidaber el kol chochmei lev, asher miletiv ruach chochma, ve'asu et bigdei acharetz mitznefet ve'avnet, ve'asu vigdei kodesh la'aharon achicha, ulevanav l'hachanoli. Ve'hem yikchu et hazahav ve'et hatechelet, ve'et ha'argaman, ve'et tola'at hashani, ve'et hashesh. Vasu et ha'ephod zahav techelet va'argaman, tola'at shani v'shesh moshtar, ma'aseh choshev shtei ketufot chuvrot, yihielo el shnei ketzotav v'chubar. V'choshev efudato asher alav, k'ma'asehu nimenu yihye zahav, techelet va'argaman v'tola'at shani v'shesh moshtar. V'lakachta et shtei avnei shoham, v'tiftach alehem shemot b'nei Yisrael. We're going to stop there. Please join with me in the second blessing, and then I'll translate. Baruch atah Adonai asher natan lanu Torah temet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten ha'torah. You shall further instruct the Israelites to bring you clear oil of beaten olives for lighting, for kindling lamps regularly. Now that's the part that you might recognize in Hebrew, which was to find in Ner Tamid. Yes, right above our ark. And if you were in our conversation on Wednesday, we were talking about whether or not it is always lit or it is always being kept lit. Anyhow, we continue. Aaron and his sons shall set them up in the tent of meeting outside the curtain, which is over the ark of the pact, to burn from evening to morning before the Eternal. It shall be a dew from the Israelites for all time throughout the ages. You shall bring forward your brother Aaron with his sons from among the Israelites to serve me as priests, Aaron, Nadav, and Abihu, elements for your brother Aaron, for dignity and adornment. Next, you shall instruct all who are skillful, whom I have endowed with the gift of skill, to make Aaron's vestments, for consecrating him to serve me as a priest. These are the vestments that they are to make: a breastpiece, an ephod, a robe, a fringed tunic, a headdress, and a sash. They shall make those sacred vestments for your brother Aaron and his sons, for priestly service to me. They therefore shall receive the gold, the blue, purple, and crimson yarns, and the fine linen. They shall make the ephod of gold attached at its two ends, and the decorated band that is upon it shall be made like it, of one piece with it, of gold, of blue, purple, and crimson yarns. You can imagine in your mind what that looks like. A lot of beautiful colors that we are told about repetitively. But the blue and the purple and the crimson, very beautiful. And of course, we then learn a little bit further on about Aaron wearing his headdress, which has upon it the words Kodesh Ladonai, holy unto God, with our service. Some of you may notice that at times we have our Torahs dressed up with their beautiful silver. The reason why you sometimes see that is because it is sort of a symbolic representation of the outfits that the priests had worn, that they had the sashes and they had the breastplate as well. And it's a beautiful, beautiful idea. While the Torah is in our midst, it's an opportunity for us to think of those among us who are in need of healing. We think of those who are abroad, the hostages who are still in Gaza, as we recite the words of Vachenu. Our God, the one who raised Joseph up from a pit, be a refuge for the oppressed, a refuge in times of trouble. Send complete rescue and full redemption to all those held captive by the enemy. Strengthen their spirit and bring them our prayers, that they be protected from all harm. Implant understanding in the heart of the enemy, that they may return the captives in wholeness of body and spirit. Grant wisdom to the Israel Defense Forces, that they may secure freedom for the captives without loss of life. Grant strength to release bonds of captivity and allow us all to live in freedom. We recite the words from Psalm 91. They shall call upon me and I will answer them. I will be with them in distress. I will rescue them and honor them. We turn now to the words of prayer for those in our community nearby. May the one whose blessings are many heal and bless us and all those who live in the shadow of illness. May God's care bring us comfort and courage. May God's love open our eyes to the faith and compassion around us. May the source of hope and renewal show us the way toward peace of mind, wholeness within, and strength from community. Source of blessings, as you inspired Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, inspire us too. And the well together be blessed, as God blessed Joshua, Chazak ve'amatz, be strong and of good courage. We think especially at this time of Marla Harlan, James Snar, Johanna Smith, Julie Bainbridge, Chaim Simcha ben Moshe Miriam Devora, Augustine Green, Benyamina bat Shalva ve'Adam, Jim Locke, Ella Dubrow, Jeremy Watts, Brandon Watts, Bert Seidel, Isaac Spicer, Norman and Carol Leist, Rob Mandel, Ken Rosen, Bobby DeSalvo, Natalie Cooper, Sid Gross, Cicely Nathan, and Gary Pacernick. If there are other names at this time, I invite you to call those forward as my hand goes across the room. Baruch atah Adonai Rofei HaCholim, blessed are you, O God, who brings healing to all who are in need of healing. We turn now to the words of Misha Berach, which can be found on the back side of your prayer card.
Source of strength, who bless the ones before, and let us say, Amen. Mekorcha bracha le'avoteinu, bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say,
To lift and dress the Torah.
V'zot haTorah beyad Moshe.
So it is our chili cook-off Shabbat, which means I had to find a story about chili. Not so many of those exist. We were preparing for this week, for this Shabbat. I was thinking back to my first experience with cholent during my freshman year of college, having grown up in an interfaith house that did not, shall we say, meticulously observe the prohibited labors of Shabbat, cooking on weekends, Friday nights. And so as I wrote about in Tidbits, there is this tension between following the halacha around Shabbat prohibitions that involves not cooking, foods on Shabbat, that you cannot cook on Shabbat. So over 2,000 years ago, with the same notion of necessity being the mother of invention, Jews got creative, not break the laws of Shabbat. And so we get this stew-type dish that comes to be called cholent, though it goes by a few other names, that can be left on a covered flame, that's your primitive slow cooker, until the next day. And it is cooked just enough to be edible at the start of Shabbat, but gets tastier as it stews, shall you say, over Shabbat. In the Talmud, it's referred to as chamin, which comes from the word for hot, cham. And there are some sources, of course, it's Jewish, so we got to debate the origins, but that the word cholent possibly comes from the French, I believe it was, for a combination of slow and hot, kind of like your slow cooker. And so within our Talmud, and I'm looking at particularly Rita, because you were in Talmud class when we studied this, we get a story about essentially cholent, where a Roman emperor, and this is a slightly embellished, wandering in disguise through the Jewish quarter in Rome on a Friday evening. And he peeked into the houses and saw Jews enjoying their Shabbat evening meal with such evident relish that he decided he must find out what it was that they were eating that gave them such pleasure. And so he summoned his buddy to Shabbat dinner the following week. And so the following Friday comes, the emperor comes to Rabbi Yehoshua's house, and the emperor very much enjoys his meal, but couldn't quite figure out why it induced such joy, or the recipe for each and every one of the dishes that he had tasted. And so all of the imperial cooks are summoned. The rabbi's wife carefully explains step by step, ingredient by ingredient, how each dish was prepared in exquisite detail, because the Talmud is known for exquisite details about things you may or may not care about. And the imperial cooks diligently write down everything word for word, go back to their palace, and they prepare an identical banquet for the emperor. And the following day, as the meal is cooked, the emperor sits, and after a few mouthfuls, becomes extremely angry because the food was not the same. And so he called the cooks in and demands, "Did you follow all?" His cooks say, "Yes." And they are trembling, and they say, "Down to the very last pinch of salt, we followed all of the directions." So the emperor concludes, the rabbi or his wife must have lied and left a secret ingredient out to fool us, because nobody's received a family recipe that has some step or ingredient omitted, right? And so he summons Rabbi Yehoshua ben Hananiah to the palace, and he is brought urgently before the emperor, who is now even more angry than he was before, and screams at the rabbi, "Why did you and your wife lie to me? The meal which my cooks prepared tastes nothing like the banquet I had at your house. You must not have given us the full instructions. Something has to be missing." And the rabbi replies, "Indeed, something is missing, a very special spice." And so, of course, the emperor, his anger fading slightly, inquires, "What spice was that? I must have that rabbinic fashion. That spice is called Shabbat. It cannot be given, nor can it be bought. It comes of itself for the Sabbath, and by those who cherish Shabbat even a non-believer like yourself could taste even just a hint of the food. In essence, it's not just the magic in Jewish sources, it's likened at times to the manna in the desert, which is a simple thing that brings joy and honor to Shabbat and supposedly gets better on Shabbat afternoon than it was on Friday, even though it's collected at the same time. And while our chilies tonight won't possibly technically be cholent per se, I know that they were all prepared with love and especially for this Shabbat and for the honor of tonight, and that we can all taste in them that special spice that is Shabbat. And that is my story. I invite you to rise in body or spirit as you are able as we return our Torah to the ark.
עץ חיים היא למחזיקים בה ותומכך. שלום, 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 שלום. We'll continue with Aleinu. לתת גאולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כהוגי הרצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו 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 אחד.
We come to the part of our service where we remember those who we love who are no longer with us. We are observing a period of Shiv'ah for Lois Harris, the mother of Julie Buckner, a period of Shiv'ah for Janice Ziskin, the daughter of Patsy Ziskin, and the Shiv'ah for Ann Burke, the wife of Aaron Burke, Lauren Cohen, Rich Cohen's sister, and David Klass, Harriet Klass, Imra Adler, Solomon Bayer, Mose Belinkin, Jerry Caposhafalo, Bertha S. Cohen, Sarah R. Epstein, Arthur D. Friedman, Monica Ann Gaglione, Mary Well Gandenberger, Jack Goldberg, Betty Goldberger, Harry A. Green Sr., Sidney Greenblatt, Regina Gronefeld, Albert Ingberg, Benjamin Israel, Irene R. Jacoby, Bruce Zola Catchman, Samuel J. Klein, Morton L. Cohn, Bernard Quass, Harry Lehman, Ethel Lippard Myers, Mary Pollock, Robert L. Potter, Pauline Resnick, Esther Rubin, Harry Rubin, Elmer S. Samuels, Lawrence Laurie Shear, Florence Schmall, David Shapiro, Leon S. Siff, and Lillian Snyderman. There are other names. I'd like to invite all who are remembering or in mourning to please rise first. And we as a congregation rise to recite the words of Kaddish, which can be found at the bottom on the backside of your prayer card. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, V'alma divrach rute v'amlich machute, b'chaye chon v'yome chon, uv'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehe shmei rabba mivarach le'alam ulalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal da'amiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehe shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who grieve, as we say, Amen. And we conclude our service at the bottom of the page with our closing prayer. We thank you, O God, for our family and for what we mean and bring to one another. We are grateful for the bonds of loyalty and affection which sustain us, and for the capacity to love and to care. Bless our family, our congregation, and our people with health, happiness, and contentment. Above all, grant us the wisdom to build a joyous and peaceful home in which your Spirit will always abide. Amen. At this time, now that we have our appetites whetted, thanks to Rabbi Sobo's story, hopefully you're hungry for chili. This is an annual tradition that Aaron Burke had started many years ago, and I, for one, know that my family has missed. So we're looking forward to Shabbat Shalom.